All right, the Reds. It is Talking Reds. Talking Reds live from Liverpool. And Liverpool this morning, certainly the north end of the city, is being battered by some mad, mad weather. There is wind, rain, snow, sleet, hail, everything that you want. And then you get to the city centre and it's lovely and bright sunshine. So that was nice. And that's how it kind of feels today after winning 6-0 against Leeds United last night. We have closed the gap on Manchester City to 3 points. We have not only matched Man City's goal difference, we have now surpassed it. Theirs is plus 46, ours is plus 50. And if we were a pain in the ass before, we're certainly a pain in the ass now. Perfect, wasn't it, last night?
It was brilliant. It was one of those games where, you know, we've been so lucky to have quite a few of them, I think, in the last few years where it just felt so good, didn't it? From the off, it felt great. There was, you know, even when there's moments of kind of nerviness in the first few minutes, you know, the ground didn't feel it, you know, that tension wasn't there. And it's great having those nights where, you know, you just have so much trust in them, no matter what kind of situation they're in, no matter how they look for a few-minute period. We're at that stage now with this team where they're just so reliable in different situations. And, you know, you look back to front of that team, you've arguably got the best players in the world in most of those positions. And, you know, someone like Diaz who can just come in and look like he's been playing there for years. It was just brilliant. I enjoyed that performance, I think, up there with sort of the best one of this season, I think. I think it was one of those where you'll remember it for a while.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously you're thinking about the cup final, aren't you? And you're thinking about how that's going to go. You don't want any fresh injuries. Equally, you want to see form going into that. You want to make a statement going into that. It was finally our game in hand after all that time as well. So there are all these sort of like conflicting feelings, emotions about it, really. Like I wanted us to win. Wanted us to win well. I was really desperate to turn over that goal difference just for an added bit of needle towards City. But equally, like, it was like 3-0, and I sort of thought they were, you know, taking it easy, knocking it round a little bit, and I was going, no, score more, score more. But what was really good about it, it felt like they were sort of third gear all night. Do you know what I mean? It didn't feel like they played well, and there were some world-class moments, and I thought Salah, you know, yet again, just looks absolutely world-class in everything he's doing. His confidence right now just looks like it's through the roof in terms of the way he's like really like toying with defenders at times. You know, like he's rolling his foot over the ball. Suddenly he's gone, and like this defender's like, hang on, how did that happen? Like this is the best version of Mo Salah I think we've had. Do you know what I mean? He's been in some brilliant form while he's been at Liverpool. He scored more goals in previous seasons compared to this one, etc., etc. But I just think the stuff he's doing right now, like he's more of a, you know, he's assisting goals more. Yeah. He's more involved in the play elsewhere. He's not just putting it in the back of the net. He's more of an all-round player, I think.
Definitely. And you know, the numbers speak for themselves, don't they? You look at goals and assists. You know, he's tied top with Trent with assists in the league. He's got the most goals by far in the league. You know, those are things you know you can't ignore. But you know, if you move away from that, the general aura around him feels different, doesn't it? It feels there's that kind of almost that magic around him that you'd associate with Messi over the last few years. And you know, well, only really Messi, I think, that has that same sort of aura. You're starting to see that with Mo Salah, and you're starting to see that with opposition players and how they kind of try and deal with him. You know, Leeds have that mad man-for-man thing. Yeah, and you saw last night, if you try and do that if you try and play like that against him, you know, it's just going to be, there's absolutely no chance.
All the best.
Exactly. And the fact that he can then switch his game, and you know, some of the balls he played were brilliant. The one for the penalty was amazing. The one into Henderson before he plays it across to Mane was brilliant as well. Matip as well, exactly. You know, Matip spoke about the pass more than his actual goal when he was talking.
I know,
after the
lad,
game.
you've scored.
Yeah,
You've scored.
I didn't have to do anything. The ball was right in front of me. I just had to dink it over the keeper. That was it. So you know, you're seeing every side of the game. The defending as well. You know, sometimes he's popping up at right back and filling in. Yeah. That's the one thing I really enjoyed yesterday. Actually, the way they interchanged Mane in that kind of central role and Diaz and all of them. They just looked so fluid, but fluid without that kind of that madness like you sometimes see with, you know, United, where, you know, sometimes you watch them and you're like, where's Bruno Fernandes playing? This doesn't make any sense. With Liverpool, it all makes sense and it all works. And I think we're at that stage now where they're just so in sync with each other, and they're so, like I said before, reliable, that they know where, you know, they know off the ball what shape to fall, and they know on the ball they can go and express themselves, and we're seeing them express themselves going forward.
Some world class shithousery as well, I thought, from Diaz. I know everyone's really impressed about how he's slotted in, and he just looks like he's played for us for years. You know, he can take a player on, he's strong, he's all of these things, and I heard people waxing lyrical about him last night, but what I enjoyed was the late tackle that he threw in, which was fucking superb. And then he also enjoyed where he goes down over the Kenny side, cop end, looking for a free kick, doesn't get it, and just isn't asked about all that. Right, I'm going to pretend for a bit that I'm injured and I'm going to hold me, like, just jump back up. Oh, not giving me a free kick? No, okay. Right, let's go, let's carry on. I'm a shithouse and I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's owning his shithousery. I love that. I love that Matip, you know, briefly got a song there as well.
Yeah, it's good.
I think, you know, he still remains certainly outside of the Liverpool bubble an underrated player, because I think he's been absolutely superb this season, not just in terms of his defensive duties, but he's been getting forward all season, hasn't he? And it's been coming, that goal. And, like, you know, Joe Matip scored.
Yeah, and it's some finish. It's some finish. Yeah. I think that's kind of gone under the radar a little bit, because he scooped that over the keeper basically, and you know, it was an instinctive kind of striker's finish. He wasn't looking at the goal. It was all instinct, and he's been due that. And you saw the way I loved how Van Dijk ran down the end. There's a great picture of him holding up Matip's shirt to the Anfield Road end, and it's brilliant to see, because, you know, he's obviously a really, you know, down to earth, humble guy, but the players around him know how good he is. I feel like, you know, every time Van Dijk gets the opportunity to talk about, you know, him, he's bigging him up so much, because he is one that does go under the radar, I think, more generally. And, you know, I think this season he's arguably been the best defender we've had. You know, Van Dijk's now gone back to the level we've seen before the injury, but for most of the season, Matip was the one that. Do you reckon
do you reckon Van Dijk's got the Matip t-shirt on today in training?
I hope so.
I also wondered as well. Do you reckon, like, in the changes afterwards, that Henderson slapped him on the head?
That'd have been fucking brilliant.
Just saying, you know, I'm giving you that back. Listen, I want to mention this while I'm on. In March, I've decided to walk 310,000 steps, or possibly more, hopefully, to raise money for the Samaritans. So I've got about 600 quid raised so far. So thank you to anyone who's already sponsored me for that. I'm trying to reach £1,000 with it, like, if I can. Obviously the Samaritans do great work with loads of people who are in a bad place, and it's the last person they can call, sort of thing. It's someone they can call at those moments when, you know, they're considering the worst, really. So, you know, this money helps to pay people to take those calls, to get trained up and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's a fantastic cause. It also means that hopefully I can lose a few pounds because I need to, get fit because I need to, all of those things. So if you want to sponsor me, there's a link in the description there, Just Giving link, if you want to sponsor me for that, so please do. Also as well, this week there's some fantastic content on the Anfield Wrap. There's more to come as well. There's a big surprise coming, hopefully tonight, I think it is. It's someone who... I didn't catch that. Fucking Siri getting in
Siri's excited, yeah.
Siri's made up about it. But yeah, there's a big one coming tonight, so look out for that. But already out is an interview with Phil Thompson. Phil was fantastic. We've got something with Ian Rush as well. There's a show talking about all the classic League Cup moments over the years. Obviously, Liverpool have won it 8 times. So we've got some of the older gentlemen, shall we say, in to talk about some of those classic days, Liverpool in the League Cup. So that's out there. I'm assured it was a classic. It was recorded in the pub, the Lion in town yesterday. A brilliant pint in there, by the way, and a brilliant pub. So loads to look out for this week from the Anfield Wrap. And to give you the taster of at least one of those things, here is a clip from the Phil Thompson interview.
How did you just talk about it, sort of behind the scenes? Because I mean, I guess you're never going to stand in front of a dressing room of players or at the training ground and say our priorities this season are X or Y. But, you know, behind the scenes in your office with Gerrard or wherever, would you have any strategies around how you approach different competitions, or is this more of a media thing, a fan thing? If you're in football, do you just want to win trophies, end of?
You want to win trophies, and it's not always, you know, other football clubs. Liverpool, we are only there, as John Smith used to say, the chairman, to win trophies. And that is the way we were. And Gerrard and myself and the other members, Sammy Lee, Patrice Bergs, Joe Corrigan, we would speak, and it was this, because we hadn't done it. This was massive, getting to the final. You know, that semi-final against Crystal Palace was, you know, the ridicule that Michael got in the first game down at Selhurst Park, and you were going, why are you doing this? You
Clayton
don't
Morrison.
realise. And, you know, I'd done it many years before. We'd sort of made sure we'd pinned things on dressing room doors. We didn't need to with this, with Clinton. Michael was so well liked in the dressing room that everybody was... if I'd have been a better man, there could have been everything. You know, we were 2-1 down from the first game, and I'd have had everything on it. You just knew, you're looking at the players in the dressing room and you were going, wow, these boys want this desperately. Yeah. And then there was obviously the final, the first one that was going to be away from Wembley at the Millennium, and that boys all wanted to do it.
To enjoy this podcast or video, all you need to do is download the Anfield Wrap app. It's available on Google Play or your app store on Apple, and you can get some free tokens which you can use to try some of our content, and that includes match previews and media post-match content, exclusive interviews and loads of transfer chat as well. So join the Anfield Wrap. We're sharing the story of supporting Liverpool from the heart of the city. Up the Reds.
All right, the Reds. Are we back in? Are we back on? I think we're back on. I hope you enjoyed the clip. So if you're into that, download the Anfield Wrap app and have a mooch at all the stuff that's on there and see if it's for you. Loads of stuff on there, as I say. Attention now turns, Fuad, obviously towards the cup final. So the big question, I mean, he went really strong last night, didn't he? You know, big statements in terms of the team he picked, I thought. Yeah. The only one where you really, you know, was a little bit of a surprise was to see Curtis, because obviously he's missed a couple of squads. Thought he did well. It was decent enough, like. But, you know, coming to Sunday, Chelsea, Wembley, League Cup final and all the rest of it, what are you thinking team-wise as things stand?
I think I heard a few shouts about. I thought the defence picks itself, but there's a few little questions about Konate maybe coming in. I'm not sure about that. I think you just go with the two that have been, you know, brilliant the whole season and experience. You know, we sort of forget these are two players that have played in huge games for Liverpool now over 4 or 5 years. So they know, they've been there, they've done it all really. So I'd go as solid as possible there. The midfield's the interesting one, I think, just because, you know, there was that thing at the away game where, you know, a lot of us felt maybe that we were out kind of overrun by that Chelsea midfield, because, you know, Kovacic and Kante are really good, and you know, you can say that they are very good players, and they did sort of control that area. You do wonder if he goes with the trusted kind of Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, which seems like the likely one. But then, you know, there's always a shout there, isn't there, for a Keita to come in. I'm not sure. I think he does go with the trusted, because the form we're in going forward, you know, you sort of trust them to get you that goal and to be clinical, and that's going to be the big thing. I think it's going to be a tight game, isn't it? It's not going to be a game won by 2, 3, 4 goals. It's going to be fine margins. It'd be good if it was, yeah. A nice early one, and then we can all have a good time. But yeah, I think the midfield is where he'll be really looking at it, because that's where Liverpool need to make sure that they kind of do better than they did at the away game at Stamford Bridge.
Obviously, we're still waiting to hear as well, and we'll get updates through the week and stuff. But there was semi-positive news, it seemed, about Jota and about Firmino. He obviously ruled out last night, but he said the pair of them are pushing for the weekend. If we assume everyone's fit, I mean, Diaz has obviously done his chances, no harm. Mo, you've got to start Mo. Mo's starting. You know, there's no debate about that whatsoever. But then, you know, the other 2 slots, who's in them other 2 slots? Yeah,
it feels. I really wanted this for Jota, really, because it feels like this has been his competition a little bit. You know, he comes off the bench against Leicester and you know, influences the game massively. Scores the winning pen as well. Arsenal was all about him. You know, he was the hero of that. His song's born from that. All of that. So you kind of want him, and also as a new player who hasn't won all these trophies with Liverpool. You know, this is one where he can feel like it really is his, because he's influenced it in a big way. So it's a shame. I find it really hard to see how he just throws him in. You know, he's been, even if he is fit for it, you know, from the start, it's a big ask to get him to kind of play from the start against a good Chelsea side and without the rhythm. I think he just goes with the front 3 if there's any question marks, and he can bring them off. Well, no, the 3 that played on Wednesday, I think he just goes with it. I think Firmino as well seems like a doubt. It didn't sound great, did it, with the hamstring and stuff. So I think he goes with that. Most of them aren't going to play on the Wednesday, are they, in the Cup against Norwich? So they've got that week rest as well afterwards. So I think I'd be more than happy to see Salah, Mane and Diaz again, because, you know, they look so
bad,
on it, didn't they? And you know, we talk about Mo Salah, but Sadio Mane as well now looks like he's come back with that extra spring in his step, like we all expected. He feels like he's really taking responsibility, and he looked really good in that role he played yesterday towards the second half. So yeah, I'm more than comfortable with that front three.
Yeah, and Kelleher, of course, in goal.
Yeah.
Some of the lads went out to Cork and spoke to various people around Kelleher's life and his background, and of course he used to be a striker once upon a time, so they went and spoke to some of the lads from his old club and his old team and stuff like that, so that's out there as well. Like I say, the Anfield Wrap has been absolutely churning it out, so there's loads of stuff for you and loads more to come as well. In terms of comments then, because we are live and people are commenting as we're going, I haven't sort of picked any out, so you have to fill Fuad as I'm going.
Yeah.
Still buzzing over Jurgen's 6 fist bumps, says George Early. Absolutely.
It's good, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, seeing the manager made up with the situation and feeling the same as you is always a good thing. People saying looking forward to Sunday. People going on about taking the piss now as well about the high line. People always talking about our high line. The high line's great. Yeah. The high line works. Ignore the bellends.
It's mad.
Jimmy's asked about who doesn't make the matchday squad on Sunday. A very difficult decision. We just sort of touched on that there. But yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about that, and I just sort of think, you know, you can imagine the manager and Linda's, etc., his team, the brain trust, if you like, up nights about it, because there's that many options and permutations. I mean, we say all the time, oh, it's great and it's a good thing. It is really hard to decide who to leave out, and I guess he's selling a lot of it now around, listen, you'll be coming on 60 and things like that, because we know that he's using that a lot. The Spaniard says, still buzzing, lads. Robbo, I had heard the Leeds fans chanting on the TV, stand up if you hate Man U. Do you find that cringe? Absolutely. Not arse. Man U are crap this season. Who gives a shit? They're not on our radar. We went and beat them 5-0 when they were on our radar, and that was absolutely fantastic. Our backers to absolutely batter them again when we play them next time. Equally, I hope that because it's a Manchester derby, they're able to do something against City. But yeah, that is a bit cringy. That leave them to that. Marshall reckons Jota's scoring in the final. Absolutely. Crisp Ian Poulsen says, I spoke to Joel after the game and asked him about the goal. He replied, Monster Muncher overrated. Make of that what you will. He never said that. Come on, Monster Muncher not overrated. Tom says, Salah is simply the best player in the world. No contest. Patrick asks about Konate possibly playing. We touched on that already. Don't think so, basically. H-Saw says it was Banter in the Glenbook last night. I imagine it was. People commenting on Kev Walsh on the post-match bites. Yeah, go and watch that. Yeah, an interesting one. People keep going on about hedgehog flavour crisps. We've had a shout for this again here. If Joel Matip was a bag of crisps, he'd be hedgehog flavour, because you don't see them often. But when you do grab a rare bag, they're a banger.
What's the hedgehog flavour crisp?
They are out there. I mean, I don't think any hedgehogs were hurt in the making of them. It's like it's a jarg thing. But yeah, I've seen it before. There's a shout for Sean Dyche eating gravel there. Other people involved in the Anfield Wrap have also had some pints, it appears. People asking how they are. I haven't seen anyone apart from the people in this room, so I can't comment on how anyone else is. People saying, let's go and get the quadruple. Well, wouldn't that be nice? What else? Good for Mane to get 2. Do you think that actually, you know, you mentioned it there, you know, with him playing through the middle and having sort of the responsibility of that, I do think it was good that he ended up on target and scoring goals, because I think he is a player that can get in his own head at times. I know he's buzzing after winning AFCON and all that, but I just think for Sunday, him scoring 2 last night means there's every chance we see the best version of Sadio on Sunday, and that can only be a good thing.
Definitely, and the goals were proper number 9 goals, weren't they? You know, tap-ins and that, and through great play himself. It's going to be interesting because, you know, there's a lot of talk, isn't there, about Diaz coming in that position and all of this. And it feels like if Mane can adapt to that position, and you know, when we see him play there before, he's always looked good. He's looked probably the best out of the 3 in that role. If he can adapt to that, because he's good in the air, he's really, he's strong, he's able to come deep. His passing's one thing that's quite underrated. I know in the first half there were a few under-hit ones that were going back towards goal and stuff, but that will, that'll take time. He was sort of figuring it out on the job. I think he's got all the kind of raw ingredients and all the kind of the skill set, I guess, to play that role really well. And look, if maybe he is struggling to beat a man like he used to and that sort of thing, that is the role for him, because he does have the legs to still keep going and to work as Firmino does in that role.
Tom Flynn says there, it's me bird's birthday, give her a shout out. Kelly, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All the best, have a good one. Tom says she's my second favourite bird behind the liver bird. You didn't need to add that bit, mate. Come on, it's a birthday. put a top at least today. Shout out to Kelly as well, says vase of flowers. I mean, maybe Tom should get Kelly a vase of flowers. Maybe you two can do a deal there. Other weird comments that we're not reading out about. We'll just leave that full stop.
Let's.
Reds flying, blah 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 blah. Leeds missed Koch last night. Koch was out, wasn't he?
You couldn't keep a straight face, could you?
Couldn't help myself on that one. Dave says they loved the post-match pint last night, Gareth. Cheers, mate. What's this one as well? I sorted your NFC ticket problem last night, Robbo. You're even better looking in real life. Oh. Well, thanks. But also, thanks very much for sorting that. I was genuinely panicking. You had distributed me ticket previous game. And so this game, it just wasn't there. And I was like, shit, what do we do here? And so if that was the person, I mean, it must be, because he knows. So thank you. But he did say, so what you do is, in case this happens to anyone else, you distribute, if it's not there, you distribute it to yourself. Okay. Which was wild, but it worked, and I got in, and I only missed a couple of seconds, whereas there was huge queues for the window. So thank you, mate, much appreciated. Well in. Anything else there? What are the t-shirts on the table for, Fuad?
Let's have a little look at these. So these are the new tops. This is the Diogo Jota shirt. I'm sure you recognise the still from Arsenal away, where he takes it round Ramsdale and dinks them. So these are available on the Anfield Wrap shop. Get on them. They're great. They're just brilliant. They've come out really nice, and the Alisson one as well. That's new, isn't it, Mike? Straight off the press. Is that what you call them?
Hot off the press.
Hot off the press. Yeah.
It's all right, isn't it?
It's good, isn't it? So yeah, all on the Anfield Wrap shop, and get on them.
There you go. That'll do us. That's been Talking Reds. If you can. Support the Anfield Wrap in all the ways you can. If you can support me doing my charity thing, then do that as well. One other thing as well, I mean, it's a little bit heavy, but I'm going to say it anyway. I am working on something around the sort of the darker side of football. Spoke to a number of people already, and it's just about when your fandom around supporting your team maybe crosses a little bit of a line, and whether it might be that you go down the route of gambling too much, drinking too much, drug taking, get involved in a bit of violence, I don't know, whatever it might be. We're sort of exploring that, not to glorify it, not to do a tabloid-ease type thing, more just to talk about it in a mature way, and also point people in the direction of various people who can help if you are in that whole sort of thing. So if anyone has got a story to tell around that kind of stuff, if this chimes with you at all and you'd like to help with that project, just drop me an email, gareth@theanfieldwrap.com. So nice one for that. Nice one for watching this morning. Nice one to Fuad, the lads filming. Nice one to everyone. It's a glorious day, even if the weather is shit. Up the fucking Reds. That's been Talking Reds.